Shalom Aleichem everyone, and welcome back to Hachseg's learning of the PELE YOETZ. We are holding over here in a new week, Shavua Tov, Good Tavach, to all of our friends at Hachseg and TorahAnytime.com. And we're beginning a new chapter today. Avas Habonim V'Habonos, the love that one has for his sons and his daughters. Avas, today is day number 14. Avas habanim v'habonos, the love that one has for his sons and his daughters. Gam kein hateva mechayvoi, the nature of this world obligates a person to love them. Mi'achashem etzem me'atzamav, since that they are like the bones of your bone. Ubasa mibsar, they're the flesh of your flesh. They're a piece of you. You are in your children. Your DNA is in there. Your life force is in there. You've given them, as the Gemara says, you've given them the physical structure. HaKadosh Baruch Hu takes care of the neshama. But you, through the way that HaKadosh Baruch Hu designed the world, you are inside of your children. V'afilu orva boy b'nei, even a raven, which is known as a very cruel bird. When ravens are born, they are white, unlike their parents who are black. And when the raven sees the child turn out white, they usually immediately fly away from the nest and they leave it there on their own. Only when they come back and they see that the child has now become black like they are, so even the raven, the cruel bird that could be so nasty to its child, even they love their child. Orva boy b'nei, even a raven loves the child. So if that's the raven, which the teva of the raven is to be mean and cruel at first, so al achas kama v'kama, all the more so we, who are embedded with natural ava and instincts for our children, of course we're going to love our children. But you must be careful that the love that you have for your children does not destroy that which is considered the normal way of functioning, which means don't be a parent, says the PELE YOETZ, who never rebukes and disciplines his child and just keeps smothering them with more and more and more love, and they can get away with bloody murder. Shlomo Melech in his great wisdom said, the one who withholds the rod, who does not discipline his child correctly, he really hates his son. But someone who does love their child, they do discipline them in their youth and in the proper way. So of course we love our children. Of course we do. That goes without saying. It's natural. And we want to, and we need to love them, and we need to hug them, and we need to embrace them. We need to appreciate them. Even when they're young, of course, and little immature children, as we'll see later on. But, says Shlomo Melech, and this is where the PELE YOETZ is going, with all of that love, there must be boundaries, and there must be discipline, and there must be understanding so that this child doesn't grow up to be a wild Indian and a Vilda Chaya. He grows up to be a mensch because he was taught the proper path in life. The main love to have for our children is avas hanefesh, the love of the soul, spiritual love. Included in that, or that itself is going to be included in the avas atzma, the love that you have for yourself. How is that? Ki bara mezaka abba. The Gemara tells us a son is mezaki, he brings merits to his father. Because the son is almost like Kra, he's like a leg of the father here in this world, and whatever the son does, so that is a shlichus, that's like his emissary of the father, and what he does, his mitzvahs, the way he lives his life, his midah, so on and so forth, it brings chusim, merits back to the father. Uksiv yaser bincha v'yinichecha. If a person will discipline and rebuke their child, then they will be at peace with him. V'yiten, or they'll live a life of peace. V'yiten ma'adanim l'nafshecha, and they will give you pleasures and delights to your nefesh, which means you'll get many rewards in this world and the world to come as a result of the outstanding children that you were zeicha to raise. L'chein yizar adam li'isnagim banav b'seichachas megula me'ava musteres. And therefore it's fitting that a father should, a mother, father, a parent should deal with their children with open toichacha rebuke rather than hidden love. We need to discipline and guide our children. And we're going to have to speak about this, how it works in the world today. Many of the mechanchim in our generation, they tell us that ava, love is what works. Is a fragile generation. The distractions and the people that are on the streets and the things that can pull our children in all different directions is very great. And therefore we have to give much more ava, much more love to our children than perhaps any other generation. But it doesn't mean that it still has to be clear in the guidelines and the way in which you are helping them understand what is right and what is wrong, what's a proper way to act, what is an inappropriate way to act, what is a sin, what is a mitzvah, so on and so forth. As we will see, we will try to relate this to our generation to the best of our abilities. Everything goes according to the level of this child. When he's young, so foolishness is bound up in the heart of this youthful boy. Then you have to keep the stick of musar, of discipline, away from him, because he can't understand. He's a child. Can't understand when you're getting upset with him because he spilled his milk. You're getting upset with him because he doesn't clean his room the way that you would like him to. You're getting upset because he punched his sister in the arm and she's lying on the floor crying right now. He's just a kid. Yeah, okay, we have to work on that. But he's just a child. So keep the staff of discipline away. However, it says, I'm sorry, I'm reading it wrong to you. The foolishness is in the heart of the child, and therefore if you use the staff of musar, you use the staff of discipline, that is how you will remove the foolishness that is in the heart. What I was saying before, we're going to get to later in the PELE YOETZ, it's important to note that over here he says that they can't really understand logical arguments at such a young age, but they could understand discipline. And therefore, again, how we're going to do it in our generation, PELE YOETZ, Shlomo Melech, they were living in different times. It was quite normal and expected back then that there was the belt and there was the wooden spoon. But not in our generation. So we have to do our discipline in a much calmer and peaceful and less abrasive way. And he writes further, Aval Yizar Ava, father has to be very careful. Don't be cruel against your child. That when you deem it's necessary to hit him, you hit him with kas, with anger, or some kind of a very damaging wound and a cruel beating and a wound that you're going to give him. You can't do that. You have to guide them with nachas, with peace. And you should hit them mercifully. You hit them on their leg instead of someplace else. Don't hit them somewhere where you can make a mum, some kind of blemish on them, between their eyes. Meaning, the PELE YOETZ say, you got a patch, natural, normal, especially in those days, natural. But when you patch, it's got to be done in a way that's not going to hurt with cruelty to this person. And when you are going to give a hit, you have to make sure that you're not angry. I never discipline my child when I am angry at them, because all they're getting then is my wrath and my kas and my anger. They're not getting chinuch. They're not getting educated in guidance. What they're getting is a parent with bad midos who has gotten angry and is now just exploding his own anger on the child. When I want to be mechanech my child, I want to guide them and I want to discipline them and help them become a better child, a better person, It has to be coming from a place of ava, of love, of concern, and of mercy. And if a parent will reprimand, or they will discipline, or they will guide and be mechanech their child in that state of mind, then they will be zeicha to be able to connect with the child in the proper way. But if it's with achzarius, with cruelty, with rage, with screaming, and with yelling, that's your problem. That's not the child's problem. Further, when the child gets bigger, if you chastise them too much, it frightens them. The child of understanding, which means maybe you could use a belt when they're younger. Maybe you can give a little patch when they're younger. Again, we are not supporting over here hitting and the like. I'm telling you what the PELE YOETZ is saying. You'll speak to your rabbanim, your mechanchim that you trust in the world today. Kimat every single one in the world today will tell you, leave the patches, leave them out of your chinuch. You could be mechanech, you could discipline in a way without all of that. And perhaps that is the way that we need to do things more often in our generation. When a parent today hits, it's mostly out of rage, it's mostly out of anger, it's uncalled for, it's your own frustration of being a parent dealing with this child. You have to mature and grow up and understand how to calibrate your own midos to be able to raise this child in the right way. So when a kid gets older, says the PELE YOETZ, you can't use any violence, you can't use any hitting or any physical reprimanding at that point because it doesn't go over with him. He's too old. V'yadu, and it's known. Someone who hits their older child, you transgress the prohibition of lifnei iver, putting a stumbling block in front of someone else. Because if you hit your older child, let's say 19, 20-year-old kid, so what's going to end up happening? He's his own man. He's going to get back at you. He might scream and yell at you and say obscenities. He might disgrace you with the words that he says. He might actually hit you back. So you're leading your child into a place where he might end up doing a sin as a result of you. Gadol mamish, says the PELE YOETZ, we're not talking about a gadol, a real full-fledged adult. Each one according to we'll call it their precociousness, their understanding. You can have a kid who's 14 years old already, that if you lay a hand on that kid, you're asking for trouble. And therefore, tread the waters carefully, says the PELE YOETZ. Do things according to the madrega, the level, that place that the son is going to be on. And when the kid gets even older, he won't take any rebuke. So the soft language, the soft tongue that you speak with, that could break the strongest anger. Which means that even if that kid is getting upset, you just stay calm and you talk peacefully. And really, the truth is, bisman hazeh, that's really the soft tongue, the soft speech. It's how we have to do all the time. And so too, be careful not to embarrass your children in front of other people, because it takes away from their self-esteem and their security. If you end up in public, other people around, which is something that parents do, unfortunately, all the time, you decide to reprimand your child at the birthday party, where he's playing with all of his friends, and you lace into him with musar, you just destroyed this kid's self-esteem. You're sitting at the Shabbos table, and one of the kids is acting as children do at the Shabbos table, crawling under the table, knocking on the table with his spoon and his knife. He's not singing, he's out to lunch, he's doing things you don't like. So you're getting upset. You're getting upset, he's a child. And then you begin to give him rebuke by the Shabbos table. Rabbi said the Shabbos table is not the time to rebuke your children. The Shabbos table is a place to enjoy the family together. It's a place of simcha, of menucha. It's a place of total family bonding. When you use the Shabbos table as that one time, because we're so busy during the week, we have no time to sit down as a family. So it's our only family time. So we have to take advantage of it, and we have to start rebuking and punishing and disciplining our children. We're misusing what the Shabbos table was given to us as a gift for. And therefore he continues, and he says, Rabbi saying we have to be very careful what Chazal teach us. Do not show favoritism to any of your children. Ki kasha ki shoel kina. Kina, jealousy, is as difficult as the grave. If the other kids know that you really love one of the kids more than the other ones, they will be exceedingly jealous of that kid. They'll do whatever they can to get attention from you, and a lot of times it will come as negative attention, which you will make you push them away even further, and therefore lavish all of your children with the same amount of love that you possibly can. Haklal, the main thing is, Lefi daito midosav shel ben. Everything goes according to the das, to the understanding, and the midos, the character of that child. You have to deal with them in a way that you should not cause them to sin. And it, meaning sin against you, because if you treat them in the wrong way, they're coming back at you. And therefore, if a child ended up sinning against you, you must quickly forgive him, so that he should not get some kind of a heavenly retribution from above as a result of him doing something against you and you harboring the ill feelings. So in Shemayim, you're shaking up the heavens, and chas v'chalila, Hashem can come down and bring some kind of punishment to that child. So just let go, says the PELE YOETZ. This is such a beautiful idea that he says. Don't be medactic so much. Don't be so particular, watching like a hawk over your children, everything. What are the helicopter parents? Don't be a helicopter parent spy that is watching every little thing that your child does. Rather, sometimes make yourself like a cherish, like a mute. Lo yishma, like you don't hear, as if you don't even see. The kid is busy doing the wrong thing. I don't even see. Because if I see, I'm going to be tempted to go and to give him a rebuke. But I don't see. He's a kid. Let a kid learn from his mistakes. Let him be a child. Let him do what he has to do. Even sometimes you should nullify your own will in front of the will of your children. They're just children. They're immature. They're babies. They're doing things. It goes on. 8, 9, 10, 12, and even some teenagers like this as well. Sometimes you just have to just look the other way and don't get too involved, because if you do, you're going to look like this parent that's always trying to catch your kid doing the wrong thing. Our job as parents is to catch our children and see our children, look for our children doing the right things and building them up in the positive way. This is a major principle. Someone that wants to be mezakir, he wants to bring merits to his nefesh, and his children will come after him, and his children will come after him. That means that what? Raise them properly, with simcha, with joy, with ava. Yes, boundaries, healthy boundaries are very much important, especially in our generation. But do it in a way where you allow the kid to be a kid, to grow, to develop. We'll prod them, we'll teach them along the way with love and endearment. And then that's the chusim Yetz Hashem. We should be zeicha to have children that are oiskim atar mitzvahs, and they are holchim b'darchei Hashem, and they will be nachas ruach to us, to our spouses, to our families, to the Ribbono Shel Olam, kol yemei chayeihem, all of the days of their life. All the best.